A boring election turned into a burning election. Molotov cocktails at polling station, pens with disappearing ink. And even fairy tale characters at the elections. I am not talking about presidential candidates, but people dressed as characters from Russian fairy tales and historical figures.
Господа, где я могу отдать свой голос за процветание державы российской?
What else was strange and what were the results of these elections? Let me tell you today. Hi, my name is Yaroslav. The elections for president have concluded in Russia. I didn't really intend to start my cozy little channel with politics, but right now the elections are the most talked about topic. The elections took place over 3 days, from March 15th to 17th. Among the candidates was the incumbent president of Russia, Vladimir Putin. Just a reminder, he's been in power for 24 years already.
Прошу вас отнестись к этому с пониманием.
There were 3 other candidates as well: Vladislav Davankov, Leonid Slutsky and Nikolai Kharitonov.
Поиграли в капитализм, и хватит.
And let me remind you that in 2020 amendments to the Russian constitution were passed, allowing Putin to run for his 5th and 6th terms. This is a common practice in developed democracies. For example, the presidents of Chad, Idris Deby, Cameroon, Paul Biya, and Congo, Denis Sassou Nguesso, and of course Hugo Chavez, Venezuela, did the same. Russia simply adopts the experience of these successful countries. The boring elections were spiced up with violations and diversions. Ballot boxes were flooded with ink and polling stations were set on fire with Molotov cocktails. Why did these people do this? They themselves were convinced by telephone scammers. For example, in Yekaterinburg, a university professor was arrested for attempting to spoil the ballots with ink. The professor went to the elections with ink under pressure from telephone scammers, to whom she transferred 50 million rubles. The scammers promised the return of the money after she spoiled the ballots. At a polling station in St. Petersburg, an unknown person sprayed tear gas. And in Volgograd, a pensioner lit a smoke bomb on the polling station. Anything to keep the elections from being boring? In Tyumen, a cardboard cutout of Tucker Carlson was placed at polling station so that anyone could take a photo with him. Confess, you want to do it too. And in Kursk and Rostov, even before the start of the elections, pens with disappearing ink were found at polling stations. It's starting to look like a spy movie. And we even have dead grasshoppers voting. I said it's dead. On Russian state television they showed a news story about how a dead grasshopper is voting in the city of Omsk. Even death didn't stop it from expressing its civic will. And the wicked Western partners say, we don't have democracy, we do have it. Democracy with elements of necromancy. I also went to the election, took my pen with me and I voted there.
Fortunately,
Fortunately, nobody came with Molotov cocktails to our polling station. Just a couple of people with strong cocktails. Who did citizens with opposition views vote for in these elections? Those who disagreed with Putin's politics were divided in their decision. Some of the Russian opposition called for spoiling the ballot or voting for any candidate other than Putin. But another part of the opposition called for voting for Vladislav Davankov. This candidate has repeatedly spoken about ending hostilities and negotiation during televised debates. Therefore, some anti-war citizens decided to vote for him. The only thing the Russian opposition agreed on was holding the None Against Putin action. The action was devised by Alexei Navalny's team and supported by many Russian opposition members. Its idea was for opposition-minded voters to come to the polling stations on the last day of voting, March 17th at noon. You can see footage from this action now. The purpose of the action is to show that there are many people dissatisfied with the state's policy than it seems. This year the DEG electronic voting system was also used. It's a miracle of modern technology that cannot be controlled for falsification. I think I don't need to explain why this system is being introduced. Putin voted using this system, despite the fact that Putin doesn't even have a mobile phone. Somehow he managed to vote. And he did it with just one click of the mouse. Usually people first log into the system, then enter the verification code from the SMS, but Putin managed to do it in a matter of seconds. That's what genius means, leader of the nation. Paradoxically, the least interesting aspect of Russian elections is the voting results. What will happen after the election now? I don't know, but as long as YouTube is still available in Russia, I will tell you not only about political events, but also hopefully about something good and interesting. But only if you like this video and subscribe to the channel. Всем пока!